Start a typical morning anywhere on Earth, whether in London, New York, Tokyo, or Hanoi, and you will encounter the same quiet ritual unfolding before the day truly begins. The steady hum of a grinder crushing roasted beans into fragrant powder, the sharp hiss of steam escaping from a metal wand, and the slow cascade of dark liquid filling a waiting porcelain cup. Before conversations begin, before stock markets open, before emails are answered, coffee speaks first. More than 2 billion cups are consumed every single day, making coffee not merely a beverage, but one of the most influential agricultural commodities and cultural forces in human history. It is the pulse of the global workforce, the silent partner of students and entrepreneurs, the companion of revolutions and philosophical debates. Yet this worldwide ritual began not in skyscrapers or European cafes, but in the ancient highlands of East Africa, where a wild plant grew unnoticed for centuries. The story most people know begins in Ethiopia around the 9th century with a young goatherd named Kaldi. According to legend, Kaldi noticed that his goats behaved strangely after eating bright red cherries from a certain shrub. They became unusually energetic, leaping and refusing to sleep at night. Curious and perhaps a little concerned, Kaldi tasted the cherries himself and felt a surge of alertness. He brought the berries to a nearby monastery seeking explanation. The monks, wary of this unfamiliar fruit, allegedly threw it into the fire, suspecting it to be something sinful. But as the beans roasted in the flames, a rich and captivating aroma filled the air. Intrigued, they raked the beans from the embers, ground them, mixed them with hot water, and discovered a drink that helped them remain awake during long hours of evening prayer. While this tale is widely repeated, historians note that it does not appear in written records until the 17th century, hundreds of years after coffee was already known in the Arab world. The legend may not be historically verifiable, but Ethiopia is almost certainly the birthplace of Coffea arabica, the species responsible for the majority of global coffee production today. In Ethiopia, coffee still grows wild in forest ecosystems, and genetic studies confirm that the region contains the greatest natural diversity of Arabica plants. Early communities likely consumed coffee in forms very different from modern brewing. Some accounts suggest that people chewed the raw cherries for stimulation or crushed the beans and mixed them with animal fat to create portable energy balls for long journeys. The transformation of coffee from a wild fruit into a brewed beverage would occur across the Red Sea. By the 5th-10th century, coffee cultivation had taken root in Yemen, and here documented history becomes clearer. Sufi mystics in Yemen drank coffee to help them stay awake during nighttime devotional practices known as dhikr. The beverage became associated with spiritual focus and religious discipline. The port city of Mocha emerged as the center of coffee trade, so influential that the name Mocha became synonymous with coffee itself. Yemen guarded its monopoly carefully. Beans intended for export were often roasted or partially boiled to prevent them from germinating elsewhere. For nearly 2 centuries, the Arab world controlled the global supply, and coffeehouses spread throughout cities of the Islamic world. By the 16th century, coffee had reached Istanbul in the Ottoman Empire, where coffeehouses called kane became central to urban life. These establishments were not simply places to drink. They were hubs of conversation, poetry, chess, music, and political debate. They were sometimes referred to as schools of the wise because knowledge and ideas flowed as freely as the beverage itself. Yet rulers grew uneasy. An alert and socially connected population posed risks to authority. Several Ottoman sultans attempted to ban coffee, at times closing coffeehouses and punishing patrons. Some religious leaders argued that coffee was intoxicating and therefore forbidden. Despite these efforts, the bans repeatedly failed. Coffee had already woven itself into daily culture, and its popularity only grew stronger under restriction. The Arab monopoly eventually collapsed through acts of smuggling and colonial ambition. A Sufi pilgrim from India named Baba Budan is said to have secretly transported 7 fertile coffee seeds from Yemen to India in the 17th century, planting them in the hills of southern India. Soon afterward, Dutch traders obtained live plants and began cultivating coffee in their colonies, particularly on the island of Java in Indonesia. From there, coffee spread through European trade networks into tropical colonies across Asia and the Americas, transforming from a regional drink into a global commodity. When coffee arrived in Europe in the 17th century, it encountered suspicion. Some clergy condemned it as the bitter invention of Satan due to its Islamic origins. According to popular tradition, the controversy reached Pope Clement VIII, who tasted the drink and found it so pleasing that he approved its consumption. Whether embellished or not, coffee quickly gained popularity across Europe. In London, coffeehouses multiplied rapidly and became known as penny universities, because, for the price of a penny, one could gain access to newspapers, pamphlets, and vigorous intellectual discussion. Institutions such as Lloyd's of London trace their origins to coffeehouse meetings where merchants and insurers gathered. Coffee replaced beer and wine at breakfast for many Europeans, a significant shift in a time when water was often unsafe and mild daily intoxication was common. The stimulating clarity of caffeine coincided with the intellectual awakening of the Enlightenment. In France, cafes became meeting places for philosophers and writers who debated liberty, reason, and democracy, ideas that would later influence revolutionary movements. Across the Atlantic, coffee's rise was tied to politics. After the Boston Tea Party in 1773, tea became associated with British taxation and colonial control. Coffee emerged as a patriotic alternative, embedding itself deeply into American culture. By the 19th century, global demand soared. Brazil became the largest producer, supplying a vast share of the world's coffee. However, this expansion relied heavily on enslaved labor and exploitative plantation systems, a reminder that coffee's history includes both innovation and injustice. The 20th century introduced technological transformation. In Italy, inventors refined machines that forced pressurized hot water through finely ground coffee, producing espresso with its concentrated flavor and crema. Coffee evolved from a household drink into a modern cafe experience. Later, international chains standardized preparation and branding, turning coffeehouses into social and professional spaces worldwide. In recent decades, the so-called third wave movement has treated coffee as an artisanal craft, emphasizing origin, altitude, processing methods, and flavor complexity, bringing renewed attention to the agricultural roots of the drink. From a wild plant in Ethiopian forests to a global industry shaping economies and daily routines, coffee has traveled across continents, survived religious bans, fueled revolutions, built financial institutions, and powered scientific and artistic minds. Each cup carries within it centuries of migration, trade, conflict, innovation, and culture. When you lift a cup to your lips in the quiet of the morning, you are not simply drinking a beverage. You are participating in a ritual shaped by monks seeking spiritual focus, merchants building empires, thinkers shaping revolutions, laborers harvesting under harsh suns, and farmers refining craft in mountain highlands. Coffee is history distilled into a single dark liquid, and every morning humanity begins its day by tasting that history once again.